There is a decision that will affect every area of your life: your peace, your calling, your faith, and even your relationship with God. It is not a financial decision. It is not a career choice. It is the person you choose to marry. And today, I want to show you something that many people learn too late. Not everyone who wants to marry you has been sent by God. Not everyone who makes you feel something is the right person. There are signs. There are patterns. There are clear warnings in the Word of God that tell you before you say, "I do," that this person is not the one. Today, we are going to talk about 7 things that should make you stop completely, pray, and reconsider. Because a wrong marriage does not just hurt your heart. It can delay your purpose, break your peace, and alter the destiny God has designed for you. The Bible does not treat marriage lightly. God created it with intention and purpose. In Proverbs 18:22, it says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." But not every person who presents themselves as a partner is truly a good thing. As believers, we are not called to marry out of loneliness, out of pressure, or out of fear that time is running out. We are called to marry with discernment. And that discernment begins by knowing what to look for and what to walk away from. 1. Never marry someone who disrespects God's authority in their life. This is the most important sign of all, and it is the one most people overlook when emotions are involved. I clearly remember speaking with a young woman who came to me deeply confused. She had been dating a man for 2 years. He was charming, generous, and everything seemed perfect on the surface. But every time she brought up attending church together, he had an excuse. Every time she spoke about her faith, he smiled politely, but changed the subject. Every time she asked him about his relationship with God, he said, "I believe in God in my own way." That is a warning, not a flaw, a warning. 2 Corinthians 6:14 is very direct. "Do not be unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what partnership has righteousness with lawlessness? Or what fellowship has light with darkness?" A yoke is used to guide animals in the same direction. If you are moving toward God and your partner is moving away from Him, you will spend your entire marriage pulling in opposite directions. The tension will not just be theological, it will be daily. It will be in how you raise your children, in how you make decisions, in how you handle crisis, in how you define purpose. Do not marry someone who treats God as optional, because if God is not the foundation, everything built on top of it will eventually shake. 2. Never marry someone who has never taken responsibility for their own actions. This one is subtle, but it reveals everything about a person's character. Pay close attention to how someone responds when they are wrong. Do they acknowledge it? Do they apologize genuinely? Or do they always find a way to make the problem someone else's fault? There are people who, no matter the situation, are never truly responsible. It was always the other person who provoked them. It was always their past that caused it. It was always circumstances beyond their control. Think about this. You will spend decades with this person. You will face financial stress, loss, health challenges, misunderstandings, and seasons of real difficulty. And in every one of those moments, you will need a partner who can say, "I was wrong. I am sorry. How can we fix this together?" If they cannot do that now, in the easy days of a relationship, they will not do it in marriage. Proverbs 28:13 says, "Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy." Humility is not a weakness. It is the backbone of a healthy marriage. Never commit your life to someone who cannot admit when they are wrong. 3. Never marry someone who shows you contempt. Contempt is not the same as anger. Everyone gets angry. But contempt is something far more dangerous. It is when someone looks at you, the person they claim to love, with a sense of superiority, mockery, or silent disgust. It is the eye roll when you speak, the sarcastic comments made in front of others, the habit of dismissing your feelings with, "You are too sensitive," or "You are overreacting," the belittling of your dreams, your faith, or your ideas. John Gottman, the world's leading researcher on marriage, identified contempt as the single greatest predictor of divorce. But long before any researcher said it, the Bible warned us. Ephesians 5:33 calls husbands to love their wives, and wives to respect their husbands. Love and respect are the twin pillars of marriage. Where contempt lives, love dies. If the person you are considering marrying makes you feel small, stupid, or worthless, even in moments they later call just a joke, that is not love. That is a wound dressed as a relationship. Do not walk into that house and call it home. 4. Never marry someone who uses isolation as a tool of control. There are people who begin the relationship with intense affection. They want to be with you constantly. They shower you with attention. But slowly, almost without you noticing, your friendships begin to disappear. Your family feels distant. Every close relationship you had before them has somehow become a source of conflict. And over time, you realize they are the only person in your life. I want to be very clear with you. Isolation is not love. It is control. And control in a relationship is not a personality quirk. It is a form of spiritual and emotional abuse. Proverbs 11:14 says, "Where there is no guidance, a people falls. But in an abundance of counselors, there is safety." God designed you to live in community, to have people who speak truth into your life, who pray with you, who can see what you cannot see from the inside. A person who loves you will celebrate your relationships, not threaten them. They will encourage you toward healthy community, not push you into isolation. If someone is slowly cutting you off from every voice except their own, that is not a partner. That is a captor. And God did not call you to a prison. He called you to a covenant. 5. Never marry someone whose character is completely different in private than in public. We all put our best self forward in public. That is normal. But there is a line between natural presentation and a double life. There are people who are generous, warm, and kind when others are watching, and cold, harsh, or completely different when no one else is in the room. Pay attention to who this person is when they are tired, when things do not go their way, when the restaurant gets the order wrong, when the traffic is bad, when they are frustrated, when they think no one is watching. Character is not what someone performs. Character is what someone defaults to under pressure. Luke 16:10 says, "One who is faithful in a very little thing is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in a very little thing is also dishonest in much." If they are dishonest in small things now, marriage will not fix that. It will only give that dishonesty a larger stage. The person you marry should be someone whose private self you respect just as much as their public one, because in marriage, you will live almost entirely in the private. 6. Never marry someone who refuses to grow. One of the most painful things in life is watching someone you love choose stagnation, to stay exactly the same year after year, to refuse accountability, resist any form of correction, and react with defensiveness every time someone suggests they could grow. In a marriage, you are not just joined in the good moments. You are joined in the process of becoming. And that process requires two people who are actively committed to growth spiritually, emotionally, and in character. Philippians 1-6 says, "And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ." God is a God of transformation. He is always working, always refining, always building, but he works with willing people. If the person you are considering has no desire to be corrected by the word, no openness to prayer, no willingness to be accountable to anyone, no hunger to grow, you are not looking at someone who will build with you. You are looking at someone who will resist the very work of God in your shared life. Do not enter a covenant with someone who has closed their heart to change. 7. Never marry someone who does not value your calling. This final point is one that many people do not think about until it is too late. God did not just give you a spouse assignment. He gave you a purpose assignment, a calling, a reason you exist beyond your family role. And the person you marry will either fuel that calling or slowly extinguish it. There are people who, without meaning to harm you, will treat your calling as a hobby. Who will not take seriously what God has placed in you? Who will resent the time you give to prayer, to ministry, to serving others, to building what God instructed you to build? Amos 3:3 asks a profound question. Can two walk together unless they are agreed? Your future spouse does not have to share your exact calling, but they must respect it. They must honor it. They must make room for it. Because if the person who sleeps beside you every night is constantly in conflict with the thing God placed inside you, your marriage will become a battlefield between your covenant with your spouse and your covenant with God. And that is a war no one should have to fight inside their own home. Choose someone who sees your calling and says, I will stand beside you while God uses you. Marriage is one of the most sacred gifts God offers us in this life. It is not something to rush into out of loneliness, fear, or social pressure. It is a covenant, a holy agreement made before God and witnessed by heaven itself. And that covenant deserves discernment. It deserves prayer. It deserves patience. These 7 signs are not meant to fill you with fear. They are meant to protect you, to guard your future, to ensure that when you do say, I do, you are saying it with your eyes open, your spirit at peace, and the full blessing of God over the decision. If this message opened your eyes today, share it right now with someone you care about who needs to hear it. Write in the comments, I will not rush what God has planned for me. And subscribe to the channel so we can keep walking together in biblical wisdom. Because you deserve a marriage that is not just beautiful, but built on the truth of God's word.